Sir, please keep this child. Sir, do this favor, sir. A mother is saying, keep him, sir. Madam, I stay alone. How will I take care of the child? He shall get accustomed. We shall provide all that you will need for yourself. That's not my point. I am a single person. Not possible to manage children here, madam. And the moment I started weeping uncontrollably, he could not help himself and agreed to keep Shubham. Both of us, his parents, had a hard time managing his studies. Despite putting him in the best school, we perceived seeds of only degradation. I had no idea what to do. His father was worried and we both were working. One fine noon, we met this chap who was well educated and had clear thoughts about studies. He was well read and we thought we should seek advice for our son. So your lecture was marvelous. We would like to invite you to our home for taking guidance for our son. And that was how it all began. While Shubham showed reluctancy in extra class or interaction, this guy also was nowhere bent upon preaching or teaching anything. So we thought you would teach him something, maybe some matrix. Ma'am, either you trust me or I am going. Oh no, don't go. You are our only hope. But it wasn't that simple. Sending Shubham away for residing with his mentor was a big, but the only step we thought we could take to help him. Teacher did not remain with us all the time. He lived simply. We felt that simplicity would instill right values in our son. Shubham was going out of our hands, and it was then that this teacher appeared, just when we needed him the most. It is still hard to imagine how that great mentor must have managed those months with Shubham. Samaha aham sarva bhuteshu na me dveshah asti na priyah ye bhajanti tumam bhaktaya mai teteshu cha api aham. I am equally present in all beings. There is none hateful or dear to me. They, however, who devoutly worship me abide in me, and I too stand revealed to them. Bhagavat Gita chapter 9 verse 29. Shubham was a very naughty boy and it required a lot of skill to be able to handle him. It was very easy for him to manipulate us and he did that often. Sometimes to go out with friends and not study, not go out for tuition, he would have all kinds of excuses to get what he wanted. Now things were getting different because now he was shifted to the teacher's house. And the teacher was also quite away from our house. It was about 60 kilometers from where we stayed and things were not possible in a manner such that we could visit Shubham frequently. This episode is brought to you by Gita for Women. The teacher was a very simple fellow. He had a simple house. He had just one room to himself and one room for our child. So there was no luxury and that was what even we wanted for Shubham. We felt that a simple living, being in a disciplined environment, will bring him much needed guidance in life and that would result in better marks in examination. Because his father was a doctor, we always felt that even Shubham would be a doctor one day. But as for the teacher, Shubham had different skill set and we had to work on that. Teacher always took care of the fact that he went out to play and meet a lot of friends. Whatever he ate was keenly observed. He could not leave anything on his plate. Whatever he had taken, he had to finish that by all means. He could not leave fan switched on when he wasn't there. So every little bit mattered. Shubham would often cry to get what he wanted when he felt that he was not getting the kind of attention we gave him as parents. But that mentor was very strict. He would not give due attention. He would make sure that he gets only what he requires and not what he wants out of his way. Sometimes when I used to tell the mentor that he was not behaving rightly or he was being way too strict, then he would say that you can take away your child. There was no way we could leave the only option we had, and somewhere Shubham's father told me that I had to control myself, only for the betterment of our child. But the good part about having him with the teacher was that his entire life routine was set right. When he slept, when he woke up, what he was eating, everything was monitored very accurately. And not in few months, but after that time, very slowly, the results started to show up. They showed up in the form of his performance. That was the most objective way of telling what others could not see. When Shubham came for his examination, he stayed at home for a few days, and after that, he did not want to go back again because he felt that he would be kept in a very strict environment and there would be unnecessary restrictions that would be imposed on him. All his toys, his friends, everything would be kept away from him. He was still a child, and a continuous environment was required for values to remain present in the mind and show action, whether that environment later existed or not. I remember the way the teacher kept him. Once, it was late at night that Shubham came meeting his friends. He had not informed the teacher, and the teacher was still waiting for him to arrive and have food with him at night. Shubham had already calculated that the teacher might have eaten and might have slept by then. He was quite happy that he could escape that odd fellow for a few hours. The teacher was wide awake. He was waiting at the table, waiting for him to come back and have food with him. When Shubham came back, he was not scolded for coming late, but when he told that he will not have food, the teacher told him that even he won't have food. Shubham was amazed. In fact, he was very surprised by the sentence. He thought the teacher might be acting and might have already taken the food. But when he observed that all the food was there and he had not taken even a grain, he felt very bad. Teacher cooked for him and the child. There was no external help. Teacher was hungry and waited for him. Shubham deeply felt that he should have informed the teacher before, that he would have food outside and come. The teacher told him that he won't have food at all because the child had already taken food. So what was the point of eating alone? Having stayed for a long time, everybody gets connected and there is a sense of attachment also. Plus, living with a child is a different matter altogether. He or she becomes own, whether one wants that to happen consciously or not. Shubham, being a child, could not take those emotions and let his tears flow. He realized that whatever the teacher used to tell him was for his welfare. He felt very deeply that even if he was scolded at times or he was told to keep his bed proper, it was all for his welfare and good health. He got attached to the feeling that even the teacher loved him, was deeply concerned about his welfare, and that triggered a lifelong relationship of love as foundation of interaction between them. This episode is brought to you by Gita for Women. Samaha aham sarva bhuteshu na me dveshah asti na priyaha. I am equally present in all beings. There is none hateful or dear to me. This in the above verse summarizes the mentor of my son. So poised that he was, his stability left us unstable at times. He could have discouraged Shubham that he won't be able to do anything in life. He could have told us that what you want to make your son wasn't possible. Rather, he observed the child, saw him precisely, and felt that we were all going the wrong path. Shubham's temperament was different and he belonged to a different class of intellect. His mind was sharp and could take quick decisions in adversity. Really, what we saw as a demerit in the child, a stable-minded mentor saw as a skill. Despite having a tough time with the child, he did all that was good for him. If he would have taken an easy path, it would not have mattered to him. That is why a person of principles cannot be understood but is still so priceless to society. We never thought that Shubham would have liked spending time with him. As Shubham got maturity, and years later now, when he remembers those times, he has only words of gratefulness for his teacher, for all the values that got instilled in him then, in an environment that boosted values, good health, a free mind, creativity, truthful communication, and above all, love. Now he is so successful in every way. Seeing his life so far, I sometimes feel who was the mother in case of my son. Perhaps the notion of a biological mother being mother needs rethinking.